Hello Greyhounds, let's have a look at all the Easter eggs, pop culture references and cool details in the final episode of Season 1, The Hope That Kills You. This is the episode where the team is playing its last game of the season, needing a victory against perennial foes Manchester City, arguably the most successful English team of the last 15 years, to avoid relegation. Rebecca has confessed her subversive actions, Higgins has returned, everyone is friends again, and Jamie's back in town. We get into the action immediately with Nate's promotion. We get a prop callback as Nate's whistle is delivered to him in one of the boxes he made with his niece in episode 2. That's the one that was used as a suggestion box, which mostly constituted of messages calling Ted a wanker, while the pink one was a collection box for Sam's birthday present. After the theme song, we drop in a sensitive conversation between the coaches in which Beard reveals he didn't know how to ask for anti-fungal cream because in the UK it's not called a jock itch. I guess it's a crotch itch? I wouldn't know. The joke is that he ended up getting Mr. Muscle, which definitely would have helped with cleaning his pipes. Then Rebecca gives us a line that takes me to possibly my favorite rabbit hole I've fallen into making these videos. And yes, I'm aware how well these rabbit holes are received. Rebecca says, this saying from Dutch football, every disadvantage has its advantage, which is a quote from legendary Dutch footballer and manager Johan Cruyff, who during his career shared so many interesting one-liners that they have their own page in Wikipedia, the Cruijffiaans. In addition to elk nadeel heb zijn voordeel, there's also, if I wanted you to understand it, I would have explained it better, and you should never be superstitious, it means bad luck. I love it. Of course, Johan Cruyff was a proponent of the total football philosophy to which the team will successfully subscribe to in Season 3. Then Ted makes a rather dark reference to the lava stunning those poor folk in Pompeii, referring to the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD that buried the Roman settlement of Pompeii among others, killing by some estimates up to 16,000 people, some fossilized on the spot. I'll let you go into that rabbit hole by yourselves, but also avoid the film Pompeii. The volcano near Napoli in Italy last erupted in 1944 and is still active today. We go through several trick play suggestions by the players. In addition to the ones heard, we also see on the board La Poubelle, which means trash can in French, named after Monsieur Eugene Poubelle, who was actually a well-respected administrator and not someone we should make fun of for his name. There's the Golden Goose, which is from a Brothers Grimm fairy tale. There's Baskervilles, probably from the Hound of Baskervilles, the beloved Sherlock Holmes novel from 1902, which has given its name to the Baskerville effect, the alleged self-fulfilling prophecy that there is an increase in the rate of mortality through heart attacks on days considered unlucky because of the psychological stress experienced by superstitious people. Then there's Hadrian's Wall, named after the wall built by the Roman emperor of the same name in northern England to separate the Romans from the barbarians. Ted highlights the one called Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, named after the truly bizarre 60s musical with, yes, American legend Dick Van Dyke putting on a terrible English accent, which had, among other things, this character called Truly Scrumptious. The trick plays remain a staple of the team's strategy in future seasons. For example, we see the team practicing Midnight Poutine at the beginning of Season 2, and even in Season 3, which even allows us to see the full name of this obscured one, which is Seven-Fingered Steve. I love it that the writing team had so much fun putting all those silly names together for pretty much just one scene. Then, when Jamie's getting his hair cut, we get the return of our favorite random fan. We first saw him in episode 1 asking Ted for an ussie on the plane from America, and we will see him again in the future. My favorite detail from this scene, however, is that we get to see Jamie's phone, and we see him text Keely. He spells the verb talk as T-O-A-K to be autocorrected by his phone, which, let me tell you, is not an automatic autocorrection. And if you're wondering about the squirrel in Jamie's booty message, it's because he's holding a little nut. At the game, we are introduced to the Higgins clan and learn that, much like their father Leslie, who was named after his mother, a feminine junior, they all have names that could be both boys and girls' names. Lindsay and Stevie are clearly named after the Fleetwood Mac power couple, Lindsay Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. Speaking of Higgins, his name might be a joke borrowed from Modern Family, which introduces in episode 18 of season 5 a butler of the same name. The two shows share a writer-producer in Bill Rubble. By the way, Jeremy Swift and Mary Roscoe, who portray the Higginses, have indeed been married for over 30 years in real life. Ted's pre-game talk includes the question to the team, "Do you believe in miracles?" Most likely referring to the miracle on ice, the victory in 1980 of the US hockey team against the heavily favored Soviet team. Ted and Beard certainly do believe, as they even hanged a poster of that iconic victory in their office in the first episode. In case you're wondering if the names of the Manchester City players are real or an Easter egg like the names of the Everton players from 3 episodes ago, well, we need some help. Arlo White, a real sportscaster who at some point corrects real retired footballer Chris Powell on the pronunciation of Johan, is able to do that because he has a cheat sheet with everyone's name that he shared on Twitter. There are some good jokes, like how Argentinian Danny Hegeman is likely a Nazi descendant. Timmy Man could well be a play on Thomas Mann, the Nobel-winning German writer. The most interesting name is Billy Brimblecomb, who, as it turns out, is a friend of Jason Sudeikis, a real-life drummer who, after losing his leg to Ewing sarcoma, went on, with help from Sudeikis and friends, to create a charity, Steps of Faith, that helps amputees get prosthetic limbs. Pretty dope. It can't be a coincidence that Pain Relief is advertised as Roy Kent walks off the pitch after his hurt, or that the next ad is Coffka Vodka, the vodka that Keely was advertising in episode 2. After a great game, the team loses, but Jamie gets a bit of growth development, learning to sacrifice his ego for the benefit of the team, per the Lasso way. And we get two beautiful juxtapositions, one between Jamie's broken relationship with his dad, that somewhat explains his behavior, versus the support that Ted gets from his family, and the other being the team being sad but together, and Rupert being sad and alone. Finally, a few cute details from the episode. I loved Keely shrugging off the problem of the 2 coffees from her 2 suitors with such a simple gesture. When the coaching team is brainstorming in Ted's flat, we see an open peanut butter jar on the table, which, as we remember from past episodes, is how Ted leaves his peanut butter so that he can dip his finger in whenever he passes by. Ted is still wearing his 3KC t-shirt. My absolute favorite joke of the whole show takes place in this episode, when newly minted Captain McAdoo decides not only to count down to 12 instead of the usual 3, but also hilariously skips 8. Ted getting Rebecca with the sparkling water at the very end of the episode is a callback to episode 1, when he did the same with the reporters at his first ever press conference. But honestly, who keeps sparkling water in an open water jug? I bet there were 0 bubbles in there by that time of the day. All in all, a great season finale. And that's it from me for today. If you enjoyed this, please consider liking or subscribing. As always, thanks for watching.